I'm a 33-year-old man, and I never thought I'd be posting something like this. To be honest, my hands are literally shaking as I type this. I've been lurking on Reddit for years, but now I feel like I'm at a breaking point, and I need to get this off my chest. I met my wife, Leah, about 4 years ago through some mutual friends. We hit it off right away and eventually got married 2 years later. Now, she's 7 months pregnant with our first child, a baby girl, and for the longest time I was thrilled. That was until this past weekend. Our home and family situation. A year ago, we bought a smaller house in an older neighborhood. It's not a fancy place. The kitchen is dated, some plumbing issues need to be fixed, and the backyard is nothing but dirt right now. But it's ours, and we've been working hard to make a home. I've spent countless weekends fixing it up, repainting rooms, repairing the porch steps, installing new light fixtures in the dining room, doing everything I can to make it a place we can be proud of. Leah seemed happy with the progress we were making, or at least that's what I thought. Her mother, Adelaide, on the other hand, has always had a way of making little comments that were passive-aggressive at best. From the moment I met her, I could tell she wasn't exactly fond of me. I work in computers, and she's made snide remarks about that like, "Oh, you work with computers, Or, "This neighborhood is interesting," with that look in her eyes. But every time, Leah would brush it off and tell me, "That's just how Mom is." So I kept quiet and let it go. Fast forward to this past weekend. We decided to host Lee's baby shower at our house. Even though Adelaide suggested we rent a venue, I thought it would be nice to have the shower at our place. I spent the entire week preparing for it, painting the living room, fixing up the porch, making sure everything was perfect. Of course, the house isn't ideal. The air conditioning is spotty. The roof isn't in the best shape, but it's ours. I just wanted to make it work and show everyone that we were doing the best we could. The baby shower incident. On the day of the shower, I'm setting up folding chairs in the living room when Adelaide shows up an hour early, walking around inspecting everything with this look of disapproval. She corners me while I'm arranging the last row of chairs and backs me up against the wall. What she said next still echoes in my head. She said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "My daughter made a huge mistake marrying someone who can't even afford a real house. Look at this place. The roof probably leaks. The floors creak. And that bathroom, my God." I was stunned. My jaw tightened, and I was so angry I could barely speak. But I stayed calm, nodded, and said, "Excuse me, I need to get more chairs," and walked away. I wanted to explode right there, but there were 20 women in my house, and it was my wife's baby shower. So I bit my tongue. The entire shower. Adelaide kept making these remarks about how Ruben, her ex, just bought a gorgeous new house with 5 bedrooms and a home theater, about how that's the kind of place to raise a child. She even kept questioning if Leah was sure about the baby's nursery being in such a small room. The entire time, I stayed in the kitchen, refilling food and punch, while no one really acknowledged me, except for Lee's sister, Lauren, who gave me this look like she felt sorry for me. The fallout, after the shower, I asked Leah if she heard what her mom said to me. She just sighed, rolled her eyes, and said, "Mom's just concerned about us, Jensen. This house is kind of a mess, and your job isn't exactly stable." Now, I've never really told Lee's family much about my finances. I work in tech, and while I make decent money, I've always been careful with it. Last year, I got laid off, but I found a new job within weeks. I don't feel the need to justify myself to anyone, but hearing her say that, it hit me like a slap in the face. And then I asked her about the giggling during her mom's remarks. I confronted her, and she got defensive, telling me I was being dramatic and that she was just laughing at something Lauren said. She insisted, "Not everything is about you." But I saw her face. I knew what I saw. We went to bed angry, and the next morning, things were tense. Her phone kept buzzing with texts, and when I walked by, I noticed she kept angling it away from me. Red flag number 1. Later, I was in the garage, and I saw her phone on the kitchen counter. The screen lit up with Ruben. Red flag number 2. Later that day, I overheard Leah on the phone in our bedroom. I couldn't hear the whole conversation, but I heard her say, "Yes, he's being difficult again." No, I haven't told him yet. I know the timing isn't ideal. Red flag number 3. That night, Leah said she was going to her mom's to help sort baby clothes her cousin had dropped off. She didn't come home until after midnight. At that point, I was getting pretty suspicious. The phone checked. The next morning, while Leah was in the shower, I did something I'm not proud of. I checked her phone. What I found shattered me. There were dozens of texts between her and her mom. Texts talking about my financial situation, about how the baby deserves better circumstances. And then I found a text from Adelaide to Leah that said, "Ruben said the offer still stands. You wouldn't have to worry about money ever again. Think about the baby." And Leah responded, "I know, Mom. I'm thinking about it." I confronted her immediately. We had the biggest fight of our marriage. She stormed out and said she was going to her parents' house until I calmed down and stopped being paranoid. That was 3 days ago, and since then, my phone has blown up. I have over 30 missed calls, 18 from Leah and 12 from Adelaide, plus a ton of voicemails and texts. I haven't listened to any of them yet. Lauren's visit. Last night, Lauren showed up at my door, crying. What she told me about what Leah and Adelaide have been planning behind my back for months left me feeling like I don't even know my wife anymore. I need advice, Reddit. Am I overreacting? Should I listen to the voicemails? Or should I just follow through with what I'm planning to do now that I know the truth? Update. I can't believe how quickly this post blew up. Thank you all for your support and messages. I never expected to get so many responses. I'm still processing everything, and I'm not sure where I'm going from here, but I'll keep you updated. I've been meaning to respond to comments, but things have been absolutely insane the past few days. The 30 missed calls I finally got around to listening to. At first, it was just Lila. Her voice was shaking, tearful, saying she needed to talk and that I was misunderstanding everything, blah, blah, blah. Then Adelaide's messages started coming through. Each one became more frantic, more desperate. The last one just said, "You need to answer your damn phone now before you ruin everything." Ruin everything? Me? I didn't call either of them back, though. Instead, I texted Lila a single message. "I know what you and your mom have been planning. I need time to process this. Don't come home yet." What Lauren told me that night. Buckle up, because it's worse than I ever could have imagined. Apparently, Adelaide has been pulling the strings in this whole mess from the start. 4 months now. She's been meeting with Ruben weekly. Yes, Ruben, Lila's ex-boyfriend, planning how to tear us apart. She's been telling everyone in their family that I'm some kind of deadbeat, that I'm incapable of supporting Lila and the baby. It gets worse. She's been spreading rumors at their church about the baby's paternity. I couldn't believe it. But here's the real kicker. Ruben isn't just Lila's ex. He's also Adelaide's godson. His parents and Adelaide have been friends for 30 years, and they've always wanted their kids to end up together. When Lila chose me, Adelaide never accepted it. Lauren showed me the screenshots of a group chat between Adelaide, Ruben, and Lila. They were all discussing house hunting, planning to find a place for Lila and the baby without me. And Adelaide? She's been making large deposits into Lila's personal account, money that, as it turns out, came from Ruben. My stomach churned when I saw the messages about how they were going to handle me once the baby was born. Adelaide actually suggested that Lila file for emergency custody the day she gives birth, claiming that I'm unstable. They were plotting to lock me out of my own life, my own family. And Lila, my wife, the woman carrying my child, she went along with it. After Lauren left, I sat on the couch until sunrise, staring at the wall. The hurt was so deep, I couldn't even cry. Our wedding photos were still on the shelf, the ones I built last summer. The ultrasound picture was still on the fridge. The half-painted nursery down the hall was a reminder of everything I thought I had. The next morning, I called my buddy Otis. He's the most level-headed guy I know. I told him everything. He came over with coffee and donuts, sat me down, and said something that changed everything. Stop reacting. Start documenting. And that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 3 days. First, I went through our finances with a fine-tooth comb. Turns out, Lila's been siphoning money from our joint account into her personal account for months. Small amounts, sure, $100 here, $50 there, but adds up to over $3,000. Then I found emails between Lila and a realtor. They were talking about houses in Lakewood Hills, the same neighborhood Adelaide mentioned at Lila's shower. In one email, Lila even asked about school districts, saying I need to make sure my daughter has the best possible start, unlike what my husband had. That one hit hard. I grew up in a trailer park, worked my ass off to get where I am. Lila knew this. She knew how proud I was to buy our house, and now she was making it sound like my background wasn't good enough for our daughter. Yesterday, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Ruben. He said, "Man, you should know, Lila's been unhappy for a long time. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I didn't respond, but I saved the text. I added it to my growing collection of evidence. Then this morning, the weirdest thing happened. Our elderly neighbor, Mrs. Chun, knocked on my door. She handed me a casserole dish and said, "For you, Adelaide told everyone at Bridge Club your wife left because you were abusive." I don't believe it. My late husband had the same eyes as you. Kind eyes. Abusive? They're spreading rumors about me being abusive. That's when something inside me just snapped. The sadness hardened into something much colder, much darker. I called Lauren immediately, and she confirmed it. Adelaide's been telling everyone that Lila left because she feared for her safety, that she was worried about the baby. Lauren's been trying to counter these lies, but Adelaide has way more influence in their circle than she does. I went into our spare room, cleared off the desk, and set up my old laptop. I created a new email account and started a document titled Everything. For the next 6 hours, I compiled screenshots, bank statements, texts, emails, every shred of evidence I could find showing what they've been doing behind my back. As I dug through old emails, I found something interesting. Adelaide's church hosts this massive charity fundraiser every year, and she's been in charge of it for the past decade. I found emails showing discrepancies in the accounting. There were significant amounts of money missing. Adelaide's been skimming from the donation pool for years. I also discovered something else. Adelaide's been pressuring Lila's father, Joan, to remortgage his paid-off house to help Ruben with some business venture. Joan's been resisting, which is literally the only time that man has ever shown any backbone. And Adelaide? She's been threatening to tell people about his affair from 10 years ago, an affair that Lauren confirmed never actually happened. What kind of person does this? Blackmails her own husband, tries to steal her daughter's baby, ruins her son-in-law's life, and then lies about it? That's when it hit me. Adelaide doesn't just want to control Lila. She wants my baby. She wants our daughter as the ultimate accessory, a perfect little church and bridge club trophy. She's trying to manipulate everything so Ruben can play the father figure, all while I'm pushed aside. Not if I have anything to say about it. Around midnight, I got a call from Lauren. She told me that Adelaide's planning a big charity gala at the church next month, a fancy dinner where she'll be recognized for her years of service. Everyone who's anyone in their community will be there, and the local news might even cover it. That's when I knew exactly what I needed to do. This morning, I opened a new bank account at a different bank, transferred my portion of our savings, froze our joint credit cards, and changed all of my passwords. I backed everything up to the cloud and an external hard drive. I just got off the phone with Lila, first time we've spoken in almost a week. She was crying, saying she wanted to come home, that her mom went too far, that she was confused. I told her she could come by tomorrow to get more clothes, but only if Lauren comes with her. She asked if we could work things out, if I'd consider counseling. I stayed silent for so long that she probably thought I'd hung up. Then I just asked, "Is the baby mine, Lila?" She started sobbing, saying, "Of course it is. How could you even ask that?" But the hesitation in her voice before she answered told me everything I needed to know. I told her I'd be requesting a paternity test. The line went silent for a moment. Then she exploded. "How dare you? After everything? After everything we've been through?" The audacity is breathtaking. We're getting that test, whether she likes it or not. But here's the thing. Even if the baby is mine, and I truly hope she is, I'm done with Lila. A switch has flipped. I feel nothing for her now, except disappointment and disgust. As for Adelaide, I feel something much darker. She tried to destroy my life, separate me from my child, ruin my reputation. All because I wasn't from the right background, because our house isn't fancy enough for her. This revenge isn't about getting even. It's about making sure Adelaide never does this to anyone again. And it starts now. 6 months have passed since my last update. Apologies for the silence, but a lot has happened. My daughter Olivia was born 8 weeks ago, and she's absolutely perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes. And thankfully, the DNA test confirmed what I already knew deep in my heart. She's mine. But let me backtrack a bit. The morning after my last post, I woke up to a strange Facebook notification. Someone had tagged me in a post, but when I clicked it, I realized I couldn't see it. It turned out that Adelaide had blocked me, but she was still posting about me, calling me unstable, saying she feared for her daughter's and granddaughter's safety. Her post was filled with dozens of sympathetic comments from her church friends, all of them rallying around her with harsh words about me. The character assassination had begun, and I was the target. That same day, Layla came over with Lauren to gather more of her things. The moment she walked in, I noticed something off. She was wearing a necklace I'd never seen before. It was a small diamond pendant, something clearly out of our budget. Later, Lauren confirmed what I had suspected. Reuben had given it to her the day before. I kept my composure, but inside I was fuming. This was just one more sign of the betrayal unfolding before my eyes. As Layla quietly gathered her belongings, avoiding my gaze, Lauren slipped me a USB drive. She had been recording conversations between Adelaide, Reuben, and Layla over the past 3 weeks, using the voice memo app on her phone and hiding it in her purse. That night, after they left, I listened to the recordings, my hands trembling so violently that I spilled coffee all over my keyboard. The first recording was Adelaide's voice, calm and collected, as she spoke to Reuben. "Once the baby comes, we'll file for emergency custody. I have a friend at CPS who can help expedite things. Jensen won't know what hit him. The loser probably can't even afford a decent lawyer." But the worst was yet to come. I heard Lee's voice, resigned but determined. "I just need to stick it out for a few more weeks. Mom's right. Once the baby's here, it'll be easier to make the break. I just hope he doesn't contest anything." I sat there in the dark, listening to these people, including my wife, conspiring to erase me from my own daughter's life. My heart turned cold, and something hard settled in my chest. This wasn't just about a failed relationship anymore. This was about my rights as a father and the life I had built for my child. I couldn't let them get away with it. The next morning, I went to the lab for the paternity test Layla had finally agreed to. While waiting in the reception area, I struck up a conversation with an older man who noticed my Metallica t-shirt. Turns out his son had seen the band live the year before, so we hit it off. As we talked, he mentioned that he sat on the board at First Community Church, the very church Adelaide was heavily involved with. They were hosting their annual charity gala soon, he said, and Adelaide had single-handedly saved their building fund. She had been handling all the money for years because no one else wanted the responsibility. The church was planning to name the new addition after her, in recognition of her hard work. I filed this information away. It felt like an opportunity, a chance to use her own web of lies and manipulation against her. I hadn't yet figured out how, but I would. Over the next few weeks, everything began to move quickly. The paternity test came back positive. I was Olivia's father. Layla moved permanently to her parents' house. Meanwhile, I spoke to 3 different lawyers to gather the information I would need to fight for my rights. Lauren continued feeding me information about what was happening behind the scenes. Otis helped me stay organized, making sure I had everything I needed to move forward. What I learned next sent a chill down my spine. Adelaide had been stealing from the church's charity fund for over 5 years. At first, the amounts were small, but as her confidence grew, she began taking larger sums. The money was funneled into Reuben's failed business ventures, his designer clothes, and ironically, the down payment on a house in Lakewood Hills that she had already put an offer on for Layla and the baby. But through it all, Adelaide continued telling everyone that I was abusive, unstable, and possibly not even a father. The rumors spread through their social circle like wildfire. I lost friends, and I would get dirty looks at the grocery store. Someone even keyed the word abuser into the side of my car. It didn't matter. I didn't respond to any of it. Instead, I kept gathering evidence, making connections, and waiting for the right moment. Finally, the night of the charity gala arrived. Lauren texted me, saying that Adelaide was wearing a new dress, one she bought just for the occasion. With the church funds now in her hands, Joan looked absolutely miserable. I couldn't help but notice the heaviness in her eyes, a stark contrast to the previously poised woman she once was. Reuben stood by her side, the silent pillar she clung to, offering her some form of support during the storm of this evening. It was a bizarre scene. I could see how torn he was, how conflicted. The church was packed, bustling with Adelaide's social circle. The mayor was there, local business owners mingled, and several other church leaders filled the space. It felt like an unspoken show, a facade of unity, a mask of civility, but the tension in the air was palpable. I waited until dinner was served. I wasn't in a rush to reveal myself, but I couldn't ignore the need for the confrontation to happen, for the truth to come to light. When I finally walked into the room, the look on Adelaide's face was priceless, worth every agonizing second I had spent plotting this moment for months. Her perfect makeup couldn't disguise the rapid draining of color from her cheeks. Her expression twisted from surprise to shock, then to panic, as if the air had been sucked out of her. It was clear she hadn't expected me to show up, and when I did, I walked straight up to the pastor, coolly handed him a sealed envelope, and simply said, "You should see this before you name anything after her." Inside the envelope were documents. Bank statements that detailed Adelaide's systematic theft of church funds, meticulously itemized records of personal purchases made with charity money, and screenshots of text messages, threats she had sent to Joan regarding a fabricated affair. But that wasn't all. I included the full audio recordings of Adelaide plotting to take my child, plotting to erase me from Olivia's life. I didn't stick around for the fallout. I didn't need to. I turned around and walked back to my car. As I drove off, I could hear raised voices from inside the church. Adelaide's was the loudest, shrill, high-pitched, and full of panic. The next morning, the text started. Layla was the first to ask, "What did you do?" Lauren's message followed almost immediately. "Holy shit, it's happening." Then came messages from numbers I didn't even recognize. Church members wanting more details, desperate for clarification. By the afternoon, Adelaide's Facebook page had disappeared. In its place, rumors circulated like wildfire. The church had called an emergency board meeting. Leah, naturally, wasn't answering anyone's calls. Not mine, not Reuben's, not even her closest friends. 2 days later, Lauren called me, her voice breaking with emotion. The church had found even more discrepancies. More than $70,000 had gone missing. Adelaide was being forced to pay it all back. She had been stripped of all her positions, removed from all committees. Worse, the police were considering pressing charges. But the social fallout? It was even worse than I had expected. Friends she'd had for over 30 years refused to even speak to her. The Bridge Club kicked her out. The Country Club rescinded her membership. She was ostracized from every corner of her life. Joan finally found the strength to move out, and she stayed with Reuben's brother. As soon as the storm hit, Reuben, the man who had seemed so supportive just days before, ghosted everyone. He blocked Layla and Adelaide on everything. I later found out that his business had been failing, and he'd been counting on Adelaide's supposed wealth to bail him out. The reality? His life had been built on lies, and he was just as much a part of the web of deceit. A week later, Layla showed up at my door. She was 8 months pregnant, mascara streaking down her face, her makeup a sad reflection of the woman she used to be. She begged me to take her back, said she had made a terrible mistake listening to her mother. She told me she still loved me, that she wanted our family back together. I looked at her, at this woman who had once been my wife, the woman I thought I knew, and I felt nothing. No anger, no love, just an overwhelming emptiness. I told her she could come back for the sake of our child, but our marriage? That was over. I told her she could stay in the guest room until after birth, and then we would figure out co-parenting. It wasn't easy. The next 6 weeks were incredibly awkward. We lived like polite roommates, each of us tiptoeing around the other, avoiding confrontation. I installed a lock on my bedroom door, set up cameras around the house with her full knowledge. It was uncomfortable, but I needed to feel secure. Layla spent most of her days crying or staring blankly at the TV. Meanwhile, I focused on finishing the nursery for our baby. Olivia came 3 weeks early. I was there when she was born. I cut the cord, and when they placed her in my arms for the first time, a huge knot in my chest loosened. For the first time in months, I cried. I finally felt something other than the cold weight of betrayal. The paternity test confirmed what I already knew the moment I laid eyes on her. She had my eyes, my nose, she was mine, and I would protect her with everything I had. Our co-parenting arrangement wasn't perfect, but it worked. Layla moved into a small apartment nearby. We exchanged Olivia every 3 days. It was far from ideal, but it was what we could manage. The divorce would be final the following month. As for Adelaide, she and Joan were officially separated. She was forced to sell her house to repay the church and cover her legal fees. Now, she rents a 1-bedroom apartment on the other side of town. Her social standing has been completely destroyed. Her friends are gone. The charity that once supported her had renamed the building they were going to dedicate to her. She's texted me 27 times asking to meet Olivia, leaving tear-filled voicemails, begging for another chance, claiming she has learned her lesson and that she's a changed woman. The irony isn't lost on me. The same woman who thought I couldn't provide for our family, who tried to erase me from my daughter's life, is now begging for scraps of my attention. It's almost poetic. Last week, I ran into Mrs. Chun while walking Olivia in her stroller. She smiled warmly and said, "Your baby has her eyes. Kind eyes." Then she handed me another casserole dish and added, "Adelaide came by asking about you too. I told her to leave you both alone." I haven't decided yet if I'll ever allow Adelaide to see Olivia. That's a bridge I'll cross when my daughter is older. For now, my focus is clear. I'm here to be the best dad I can be. Our house isn't perfect. The kitchen still needs updating. The backyard is still mostly dirt, though I've started planting a small garden. But it's ours, mine and Olivia's. No one can take that away from us. And every night, as I rock my daughter to sleep in the nursery, I painstakingly painted myself. I know one thing for certain. This is what a real home looks like. Edit. Thanks for all the support through this nightmare. For those asking about Lauren, she's become a good friend and an amazing Aunt Olivia. She and her mom haven't spoken in months. Edit 2. No, I'm not interested in dating yet. I've got my hands full with an infant and a divorce. Maybe someday, but not right now.